All right, gozaimasu, everybody. All right, so I'm starting this again. Question came to me this morning about why there's so many lonely people, or why people don't have friends and things like that. Me included. The one word I want to put up there is conditions, or co-ditions, whatever one. We'll play on that word for a second. That one word, conditions, is like everything when it comes to friends, friendship, relationships, sacred unions, family, marriages, all kinds of relations that you have with people that are both intimate and non-intimate, goes along the lines of whatever kind of conditions you have. So a lot of people like to say, which is an American thought that kind of spread through the whole world for some strange reason. I guess because it play on people's selfishness or self-centeredness. But that word is unconditional love. So people that are more like selfish or self-centered, they always expect somebody to love them unconditionally. Oh, I expected unconditional love, something that's not realistic, because love always has conditions. So it's more like the first thing people need to do is be real about themselves. When you're thinking about going into a relationship or a friendship with someone, before you even get all emotional and your emotions get tied into each other, you have to lay the table out. Put everything on the table as well as your conditions. What you expect. Expectations is another thing, but I would say conditions is stronger than expectation. Because you can expect somebody to do something, but that's not a definite, but it's the condition, the definite. You could say my condition is you can't this, or you can't wear this, or you can't do that, or you can't this or that. There are different kinds of conditions. And if somebody don't accept those conditions, you can just walk away or dissipate the relationship. So I noticed that a lot of people don't have friends or in intimate unions and marriages and stuff like that, because not because they don't lay down their conditions, it's because they act like there are no conditions. You act like you can just love each other, and the only thing you need to worry about is financial stability or some kind of financial benefit of getting through life together, like food, shelter, clothing, communication, transportation, your basic necessaries of life. As long as somebody can provide those basic necessaries of life for you, you don't care about the conditions, but they do come into play when feelings and emotions come. And then you start, having to live with that person every day and see that person every day. And then you start to realize you don't connect. The conditions are not met, and stuff like that. Now, if you go into it, having conditions, but saying, you know, these are my conditions, but this is not that type of relationship, da 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 da, just take care of me. Like, if you really put it on the table like that, then it makes sense that you be with somebody that you're not compatible with or that you don't connect with, but a lot of people do crazy things and get in crazy relationships, not based on love at all. That's why when you look on social media, you see a lot of prank YouTube type of stuff, YouTube relationships, Instagram relationships, a bunch of women running around, traveling the world, doing nothing but taking pictures and photos of their food. The reason you see that is it's just a setup. It's a setup. It's not that they found love or they are in love. They are basically in a lot of pain and a lot of stress. They have a lot of clamor in their mind. They have no peace inside themselves. So they're basically running around everywhere. It just look beautiful because what they put on the camera. And then when it's time for camera time, they paint their face up, make themselves look pretty, and then they put this facade on. But when the camera's off, they go off crying, taking the makeup off, and they crying, boo-hooing, because you are the product of, you are self-inflicted. You are a self-infliction. You're causing these things on yourself. It's not people doing it to you. And so that's what you see on social media a lot. It's a false sense of love and couples and all that bullcrap. But if you're talking about real genuine relations, you want to always lay down the conditions first, but even that get construed because it get even deeper, because your conditions that you have could be far-fetched, or not something simple or something like that. So it's a condition, the word con. Now English is a battle language, but you have to have a pure intent to be able to speak English with a pure intent. Otherwise you're going to fall into the spell of the English language as far as battling all the time, because everything is battle. Con this, con that, concentration. Everything is a con, you know? And so what I did was take the N out and say concentration. So what is the co-dition? So co is a word that means together or cooperation, people working together. Instead of con, we're going to work together. So for example, instead of competition, we're going to cooperate. See that co-word, we're going to work together instead of compete. So competitive marketing, for example, is an economic term. Competitive marketing, everybody want to compete, and then some people lose out and some people win, and then there's one-upmanship. But if you have cooperative marketing, nobody loses out, everybody work together. If somebody's lacking somewhere, then somebody that has more will help the person that has less. So then your economy stays balanced and maintained, and it can increase because you're working together. But if you're competing, now you're trying to conquer somebody. Con this, con that, a conquest, everything is that. So you can't ever be real. You're basically being deceptive the whole way, or the whole way of your life. You're being deceptive, and you're trying to lie to somebody or be sneaky or this or that. You're not. Don't have a good intent about somebody, about being around people. So, what is the co-dition? And so I would put myself in there. Like why don't I have friends or whatever the case. Now, people find it hard, but my co-dition is purity. And people find it hard to be pure, and that could be an excuse for people to say, well, nobody's perfect. I'm like, right, sure, nobody's perfect. However, where's your heart? If you could be perfect, would you choose to be? And that's what I'm looking for. Like, if you could be blameless, if you could have no self-infliction, the product of your own problems, would you be? Would you be a blameless person? So I tell people I'm blameless. I'm not the product or the cause of any of the stuff that happens in my life. Purity is my co-dition, my main co-dition. Like, for example, I even tell women that have contacted me that was in the sex industry, porn stars even. Like, I've met porn stars and stuff in neutral settings. I didn't even know they were porn stars because I met them in a neutral setting. But when they ended up exchanging information with me and I looked up their information, it turned out that they were porn stars or trying to get out of the thing, because that was the reason why they met me in a neutral setting, was because it can look a certain kind of way. It can look like that's something that they want. And that kind of triggered me to also help people understand about co-ditions. The desire does not match the work. You are forcefully opted into doing this type of work, or this is your life, this is the card that's dealt to you. And if you try to get out, people will try to harm you or kill you. You know how men can be. Like, they're so crazy over pussy that if a woman did it to survive, but now she want to change her life around, that man will threaten her life if she leave, because that's his money. Or he just has a burning desire for that woman because she's pretty. So if she try to get a husband or live a new life, a holy life, then that man will come after her, because he can't let go, type of stuff. You have, it's all kinds of energy out here. So those are people with bad energy, hot energy, lava energy, I would say. And you got to be careful. So in those type of settings, it can still work if you come to certain types of co-ditions and put everything on the table. Like, this is what I'm working with. It just might be harder to work with what the person is putting on the table, but you still can work with it if the heart is pure, meaning your heart don't desire what the work is that you have to do, because now you're trapped up. So as I said this to porn stars before, like, yeah, the work. So what you're explaining to me is that your desire don't match the work. You're looking for a way out, and you did find a way out, but you can't take the way out because your life is in danger. You have a child, your child's life is in danger, and you're trying to figure out how to lead a different life and a better example for them, but you can't. Okay, that's understandable. So this is what I can work with. Da, 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 and then that's between you and that person. the realness that came out, the condition, you didn't hold anything back. So it shows that you're not trying to hide anything from anybody. You just laid down a condition. What can we work with? And then you go into it together. Now, the reason why I always say purity, because if purity is not the condition, the co-dition, then there's another condition. Like there's an intent there. That's an evil intent. All right. So there's an evil intent. And if the intent is evil, then there's going to be no ultimate goal reached as far as love and union and working together. It's not sacred. It's like the person is just after something. They're using you for something. It's a catfish or something like that. So you always want to make sure your conditions are set. And another one that you want to connect to that condition is your intent. You want to know the intent of the person. Just what is their intent of life? What is your intent just genuinely in life? And what are your conditions in relationships? You know, things like that. You just want to know, you know, and you need to know, because if you're trying to live your life with this person, or you want this person to be your friend for the rest of your life, and you might want to go into a marriage and you might have children by this person, you want to make sure their heart is right. You want to make sure the way they look at life is right. You don't want them to be the type of person that have some kind of flaw there that's like blood red flag. I call them blood red flags, not just red flags. Red flags can be worked out, but blood red flags, like 100% everybody would not accept this thing in the whole planet, you know? So that's what you're working with, you know? Like, for example, people think that lying in relationships is cool, or deceptions in relationships is cool. No, if you love the person, you would never lie or deceive, because then you're trying to live the rest of your life together. Why would you want to lie to your spouse? Or, you know, it's just understandable, you know, that these things don't cause or bring forth successful relations. So that's the reason why people are lonely, because number one, they're afraid because they might have been hurt before. But if you have somebody like myself who's not afraid to keep going out there trying, it's more so not having a topic of connection. Like there's no connecting point. We're just a bunch of people wandering around doing our thing. There's nothing put on the table. There's nothing introduced for us to communicate about. We need a topic. We need something to talk about. We need a trigger point, an icebreaker, something like that, or ice melter, something that can bring us to communicate with each other. And then from that communication, our intent of communication has to be that we're looking for love or marriage or relationship, and that we're looking for it in each other, or open to look for it in each other, because some people might not even be open to all kinds of people. You know, it can be all that. But when you communicate with people, you find out that things go beyond the skin type, the skin color, and the nationality as far as bloodline. And it can even go beyond culture a lot of times, when people are actually looking for love. It's just all about respect, honor, purity, all that. And you just want to be careful, man. So I've heard many different types of things about people just want to be accepted for who they are. But you just got to you really got to be honest with yourself. Look at yourself. Are you the type of person that somebody could accept you for who you are? You know, like, you just can't accept every type of attitude or character, you know? Just the main two things that you want to worry about is conditions and intent, you know? But you have to be the type of person that is ready for relationships. Like, everybody's not ready to be in a relationship because they're not the type of people that's been raised and programmed with the proper programming to go into society and be proficient as far as morally. Because you'll have people go out there that's wild and chaotic and cause havoc in society, you know? Some people do have dangerous thought processes that can be a harm to society. That's why I always focus on fresh water. What is the fresh water of life? What is something that everybody in the planet can agree is a thing that is good and bad? So the one thing that I always point out that everybody can agree on is lying. Nobody wants somebody to lie to them. No matter where you go on the planet, everybody will say, no, I don't want anybody to lie to me. But you do know people are out here that will lie to you. You do know that people out here that don't like you. You do know that there are enemies out here. So people will lie to you as a way to try to attack you, because you're not a friend to them. We know these things exist. But if you ask somebody or ask everybody in the planet, rich and poor, no matter what, is this fresh water? Telling the truth, not lying. That is fresh water. So if we can get that one drop of water and put it in a cup, and then find more drops of fresh water and put it all in a cup, we'll have a cup of fresh water, and we can refresh ourselves and say, this is the way that the planet is supposed to live. And this is the moral code that the planet is supposed to live by. And when you don't know the proper moral code to live by, you're not going to know what type of conditions or conditions to have. And your intent is not going to be right. It's going to be funny, iffy, or bad, or it could be good if you do know. You know, that's how people don't connect. But there are people that have the same culture that don't connect, and then people of different cultures connect with each other and stuff like that. It's funny like that because the world is in a chaotic mess of not knowing the freshwater way of life. And that's why a lot of people don't have friends, because you're not taught by your parents, because your parents might not even know and to how to raise you, or what moral code to give you, or what moral standards to give you. So they just you got to figure it out on your own. And so by the time you graduate high school, college, and things like that, and get into a career, you don't have anyone, you know, and you try to find contentment with being alone. But the creator made so many people in the planet so that we won't be alone. Yet we act as if it is okay for us to be alone, because you can't operate this system called planet Earth by yourself. It's not, the ocean has many drops to it, and it's called one drop of water. And that one drop of water has many drops in it, and that are us. That's us people. We're like one body of water, so you can't operate the system of the planet by yourself. And so that's within itself letting you know that you can't be by yourself. Like, you cannot be without a wife. It's mandatory to have a wife, and it's mandatory for a woman to have a husband. Mandatory. It's not an option thing. People act like it's an option because you must continue life. You must bring forth children into the world. It is your responsibility. Or else, why do you have a vagina? And why do you have sperm? Or else, you must use it, And it's just a matter of people not being qualified to be in relationships and stuff, because they're not taught right. Torah tells us, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all these things will be added to you. Meaning, seek for the way of how you're supposed to live in earth first. What type of person you're supposed to be. What kind of moral standard you're supposed to have. And then once you have that moral standard and you make it a part of yourself, a part of your heart, then you can start looking for a wife. These things will start to, you'll start to be able to go forward and look for, like, for example, me, I can go forward and look for a wife now. But when there are other people out there that have not been prepared for society, they can't be in relationships, so they're not going to connect with me. I'm ready, but they're not. So it's more people not ready than people that are already. And I am ready, but they're not. So that's why I'm alone. But I'm very ready. So when I communicate with women, they can tell that my head is on straight. I'm real. I'm straightforward. I'm not offensive. I can explain things well. And I have a proper moral code that is along the lines of fresh water. And so they can tell that I'm ready and they're not. They have a bad intent, or they didn't have my best interest. It was something funny like that. So they don't go forward with communicating with me or try to be in a relationship with me. They don't go forward with it because they know in their heart that they don't mean me well. I really am a good man. And it's the same thing with women. Women really be good women, and they have a lot of men that their dicks is just burning, and that's all it really be. Or she's just pretty. I need a trophy real quick. That's all it really be, So, but if you're talking about just genuine friends and stuff, like men having male friends to hang out with, like play basketball or whatever kind of hobbies or whatever the case, and it's, all straight. Yeah, you got sexual preferences. Like if you have gay men, that's still along the lines of intimate relationships. So we just talking about regular friends where you just can have people that you hang out with or do hobbies with, and it's just simply just friendship. Or like family relations can be messed up because once you get older, families split apart because they have different thoughts and different, ways they want to, and your family attack you and say, oh, you want to be brand new when you was, I raised you different. I raised you better. And it can be a battle, even with your family sometimes, if there are difference of moral coding or moral programming. It's all about that. Moral coding or programming, the conditions that you have and the intent that you have that set the stage for how you will go forward with the person, because you pretty much can work with anything that you put on the table for somebody. You can work that out. I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. I used to be this. A woman could tell you, I used to be a escort, or I used to be a prostitute, but I'm changing my life and I don't want that anymore. This, that, and the third. I'm working with this. I used to be in jail. Da, da, da. A woman could tell you so many different things that she got going on that she's trying to get free from. And a man could still sit back and be like, wow, because you were honest with me about that, and forward, I can work with you with that and help you fix these areas of your life. Why? Because nobody can creep up in your life while you being happy with the new relationship that you have and be like, oh, I know her. I had sex with her yesterday. Nobody can walk up and say something funny like that because you're being honest and forward and upfront. You're not keeping secrets. Now, sometimes there could be things that you might not want to say right away. You might want to wait a while till you get to know each other better to express certain parts of your life. That's understandable. But it's not that your intent that you're not going to tell them. Your intent is to tell them, but at a later time when you're connected more. Because it could be something that you say that could be like, it could break off the relationship right away, but you're connecting so well in the beginning. You just want to wait a while because you know that if they get to know you more, they'll accept that part of you too, or accept something that happened in your past that you was not ready to say yet. Because a person need time to see what kind of person you are, and they can tell that you're a changed person. So you'll tell them something from your past and like, well, you're not that type of person now. The way I see it is that you're a better person now. They'll see you for who you are. So it's a lot of stuff like that, man, that goes on about relationships and friendships. But it's like with women, for me, with women is any woman. I could be with any woman, really. It's just, it takes a woman to take a chance with a man like me with a pure heart that can cleanse her, because the Torah also talks about when we have the words of life, when we have the freshwater way of life, we use that fresh water to cleanse the spirit and the soul and the mind of the woman that we're trying to marry, or the woman that we're married to. So it is the responsibility of the husband or the man to cleanse and purify the heart of the woman he's with continually. It's not just like, I'm trying to fix you now. It's like, no, while you even in your marriage, you have to be a man of wise words and freshwater wisdom to basically be able to continually cleanse your wife and also guide your daughter or your son in a freshwater way. So your wife could have a messed up mind, but since she's a woman and obedient to you, submissive to you, she'll do whatever you say so long as you love her and things like that. You can guide her, So it's all of that. You just need it's just too much. It's too much to really tackle, but yeah, that's the responsibility of a man in a freshwater way. Cleanse your wife, cleanse the woman you're talking to, and give her a better example of what a man is, and she can follow that. And as she follow that, she'll never let you go. She'll cleave into you, and that's your wife, And that can be just a simple relate. It could be a random woman. It don't have to be the best looking. It don't have to be the number one celebrity of the world and top model. It can just be a simple woman around the corner, down the street, don't have much, but, she'll love you to the end, and if you can help her and cleanse her way of thinking, she'll follow you. And that's all it's really about, man. So that's the answer to that question for y'all about why people don't have friends and friendship and relations. It's all about that. Your intent, the conditions that you lay, the silent expectations that you have, because silent expectation would be something that you just expect somebody to do. Like you expect somebody to love you. You expect somebody to respect you, when you're going into a relation. That's a silent expectation. But a lot of people don't know what love is, and so that expectation might not be met inside of your mind or inside of your heart, and then you break the relationship off, and you don't know why sometimes. Why she leave me, or why this, or why she mad? Because her silent expectation was for you to love her, and her thought of what love was is different than what your thought of what love is. So you need to even lay down your silent expectations on the table, like, what is love to you? And then I'll tell you what love is to me. And then the bottom line is, what is the freshwater way of love? What is the true way of love of the one who made all things? What is love to the creator? And so when you find that out, we can cleanse both of our thought processes of what we think love is. If it's not there yet, you can go about it together, or one person cleanse the other, who knows? So all of these things, silent expectations, conditions, intent, and even getting an initiation started, you need a topic. People like to say you want to bump into somebody. No, you just need a topic, man. But how do you present a topic to somebody showing that you're interested? Like, how do you do that in this world? Everything is social media, make a comment. So what I do is I just talk. I just talk. And if anybody cleaving to the way I'm talking and stuff like that, and a woman might be interested in me, then I'm open already. Like, yeah, come on, I'm looking for a wife, and it's all about a woman gravitating. That's why I talk so much, because how do I present a topic to show a woman that I'm interested in her? I don't know, just talk. So I just talk, because communication is the number one thing, like I've been saying before. And it'll only show that what women are ready and what women that are not ready. And like I said, you don't have to know how to do everything, because this new generation don't know how to do too much for themselves, like cook and clean and take care of themselves too much. So me being from an older school in the 80s, I know how to do these things. It's more like I can teach a woman how to cook and clean and this, that, and the third, and I don't have to be a make or break. It can be like, well, you still have a good heart. You have a good intent, and I can see good in you, so I'll still work with you. I'll teach you how to cook. I'll teach you how to clean, like how a father would teach his daughter or something like that. If there was no mother, I will teach you how to do this and do that, and then she'll be able to do it better than you, later. She'll be an expert at it, and she'll teach you. The same Adam and Eve story. Adam and Eve. Adam was in a garden. And then when Eve was made, he taught Eve how to tend to the garden. And then she learned how to be an expert at it like he was. So that's how it is. You teach your wife, and then your wife will be better at things than you, and she'll be able to help you. You help her, and then she'll help you. That's how it normally is, But now that society has progressed, the parents normally teach the woman, and then she's ready for you as a wife. But if people are not ready, you help each other, so in this time, it's better for a younger woman to be with an older man, because he can teach her things. But you want to always come to the family first and things like that, and get your approval. You don't want to just take a woman. You get approval from the family, the brothers, the sisters, the cousins, the male figures, the father, all uncles. All of these male figures need to get you need to get approved of first. And the same for the woman. She need to get approval from the aunties and the mothers and the sisters and stuff like that. Both families need to know of each other and stuff like that. It can't be secrets. Whenever you have secrets, also, friendships don't work out and stuff like that. It just look like you're trying to take a woman from her family instead of be part of her family and she be part of your family. So it's all wrong. So that's another thing too, intent. It's another reason why people don't have friends and stuff. So you just have a lot of enemies. Like, for example, no matter where you go in the world, you have different nationalities in there, and they're fighting each other. You working together, but you're really fighting because nobody has a pure intent. You just want to be the winner. It's like it's Game of Thrones or something. And it's like nobody really caring about each other, and it's a mess. So it puts you in a different thought process of battle all the time. Fight, fight, fight. No, So you need somebody like me to tell you stuff like that. Words of peace. How do you come to a state of peace? Stuff like that. So I'll just leave it at that and say shalom.